I guess this is the beginning? Yes, this is the beginning.
Okay, we
Hello.
started.
Welcome.
Hello.
Good morning? I don't know why.
Good evening.
It could be morning depending
It's
on what
evening
time
for
people
us.
watch.
It's evening when this releases. It's evening for you.
Yeah. It's evening somewhere in the world right now. Welcome. If you don't know Gage, you should know Gage. He is the brilliant and talented and unforgettable filmmaker Gage Clift. You should watch his movies. We will link them somewhere.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and we're here to talk about movie making.
Yes.
We're specifically here to talk with Gage about how to balance the indie filmmaker lifestyle with the indie filmmaker lifestyle. Because obviously, you know, you want to make films as your career, but then you have bills and expenses and things and computers and stuff that costs money. So how do you balance your dream to be a filmmaker with life?
What do you want the people to know about you, Gage?
What do I want them to
Probably
know?
lots of them do know you, but probably lots of them don't. So either way.
Assume they know nothing.
Well,
There you go.
If I'm selling myself, yeah, I just...
Is it a little bit low?
Is it? Is that better? I want them to know that I'm not good at setting up my microphone. I just like making movies, you know? Been making movies for over a decade and just putting them on YouTube because I just want people to see them, you know? I make no money from movies. I never have, and maybe I never will. But hopefully, you know, and if not, then I'm just going to keep making them. So you can check out my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I've got like, I don't know, I think 5 or 6 movies on there right now.
With more coming this
Yeah,
year, right?
Yeah, and then I've
At
worked with
least
you
2.
guys. Yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
2 coming this year, and then I've, you know, movies with you guys. I also have a playlist on YouTube that's like stuff that I've helped work on too. And I have
Oh,
your
yeah.
guys' movies on there, Kyle's movies, the RC Films movies.
That one movie you and Brooke were in, the Halloween one.
The Halloween, yeah, that one,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's a obscure one. Yeah. Yeah, there's that one, and yeah, I would just say you just watch my movies if you want, and just be on the lookout for my 2 coming this year. So
Also, enjoy the new space. This is
Yeah.
our first episode that we're ever filming in our new studio, and we are super hyped about it. We have different stands. This mic is new. I think it was that one. Maybe it was one of the other ones. Anyway, one of the mics is brand new. You can't tell because they all look the same.
I think honestly these 2 mics and us are the only things that are the same from the old setup. Like
Yeah,
we have a new
the
camera,
cords are the
new
same.
lights, new everything.
Yeah, we're filming on the Black Magic now.
Yeah.
oh wow,
Instead
this
of
is the first one with the Black Magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
feel
used
spoiled.
this before.
I feel spoiled.
I mean, the phone was great, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but it's nice to be able to work with the camera and just get more familiar with it, you know?
Yeah, I'm also lazy, and I like being able to airdrop the video onto my computer
That is
for
really
editing.
nice.
Can't do that anymore. Oh
No.
well, it's not that much harder. So yeah, new space, new curtains, like
It's a vibe.
Possibly
I like it.
will be newer curtains eventually.
yeah. I'm sure there'll be like mini upgrades coming
Yeah.
over the next few months as we continue working in this space. So we're super thankful for it.
So why don't you tell us what inspired you to become a filmmaker?
If you can pick one thing, I not
Yeah,
everybody.
Or
I mean,
a couple things.
That's how these questions go, right? Where it's kind of you just pick one thing and you're like, I guess we're going that way. But I guess, I mean, if we're being like literal, I guess probably when I saw Pulp Fiction when I was 13, which is the most cliche generic story of all time, but it's what happened. I mean, I was making videos before I saw Pulp Fiction, and this is all things that, you know, that'll be in my movie Fool, but
Ooh.
but
Spoilers, previews.
yeah,
This is what this is.
and it's not a documentary about my life, but it is about like all of my old movies and stuff. So I was always making videos, and then when I saw Pulp Fiction, that's when I was like, oh, movies, you know. First, it was kind of like an SNL kind of, you know, I like doing like skits and comedy and stuff. And then when I saw like a movie made like that, I didn't know that was even possible. And then that just opened up the floodgates for me. So
Wow.
I
so
love that.
that's the origin story.
What is it about movies that draws you in so much? Because, you know, there's so many mediums that we could choose as
Yeah.
writers and storytellers and actors and all that. But what is it about movies?
From my own personal experience, I just feel like movies and film is always just felt like a healing experience, whether I'm making them or watching them or even just talking about them. And I really can't really explain that. I think that's just, we all have those things where it's just where you find the meaning in your life, and that's just been what it is for me. Every time I watch a movie, every time I make a movie, there is definitely a feeling of the emptiness goes away a little bit, at least for, even if it's just for a short time. More so making them, obviously, but I watched a movie the other day, or it was yesterday, I watched one, and it was like, it's that feeling that a piece of your heart was put back into place a little bit. And I only ever feel that when, it's, in relation to film and creativity and stuff in that way. So that's probably what I would say. But, I like creating stuff regardless, but movies are where it's at, so.
Yeah. There is something so magical about movies. I've tried to pinpoint it. Kate and I have had many conversations about, like, what is it? What is that movie magic compared to theater, compared to drawing, compared to books? And I think, honestly, it's like the culmination of all these different art forms combined into one solid piece. You've got writing, you've got artists who draw, who animate, who do set design and props and costumes and makeup, and it's so all-encompassing. And it's that magic when it all comes together, and then you have this, like, beautiful little thing or big thing that you made with all these talented people.
And one thing that, I don't know if I can articulate it as well right now as I did to myself at least a couple months ago, but, like, me being, like, a big history buff my whole life, playing dress up and all these things, like, that's what movies are. Like, you get to play dress up, depending on, obviously, what the movie's about, but, like, you get to play dress up and go to cool places and, like, act out things.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, on set is the only place you can do that. So it's like a time capsule in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know you also, Gage, you love watching all the BTS footage as well as I do. So it's like that time capsule moment. Plus, like, oh, I'm doing something really cool. Like, I get to wear cool clothes and, like, go and stand in this cool place and, like, as an actor for sure. But, like, you're reenacting potentially something or creating something that's, like, so never seen elsewhere.
Do you prefer to escape when you're making stuff? Or, like when you're making movies or, acting or writing or whatever, do you like to kind of escape reality? Or do you like to shine a light on reality or, like, discover your reality through it? Because a lot of people, it's different. Everybody's different.
Brooke and I have talked about this. I feel like we're going to say that phrase a lot.
We talk about a lot of things.
We talk about a lot of things.
You guys be talking.
We do, for sure. I've never really at any point in my life felt like I wanted to escape from anything. And that's not a very relatable statement. The older I get, the more I realize I've had a very unique life compared to a lot of people. But it's just like being in the moment and doing the thing is just so much fun. It's like that's what I look forward to. It's like, oh, in 2 weeks we're going to be shooting the Isabel project. I can't wait to see everybody and be there and do all the things. It's more like a highlight. And writing is a little bit different. I do take a little bit longer to write, I think, than some other filmmakers do. It's not like my favorite thing. But if I'm like in the flow of it, then it's like, ooh, like what am I going to make? What's going to happen? Like it's more like an enjoyment of the process of it. I don't know if that's a direct answer to your question, but that's what I got so far.
No, I get you.
Brooke?
Yeah. Well, I got into movies to escape reality. I was one of those depressed kids who was like, I need everything but my life. As I've grown older and overcome that and actually made movies, it's become more of a like kind of tool that I can use to express my own experiences and teach people or make people think or feel, kind of like making that reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or
okay.
I guess almost discovering it too.
Yeah.
Because I learned so much on every set I'm ever on. So.
Yeah. And then you hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great question.
Was
I
it?
love
Yeah.
that question.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Now let me reference
Bust out
my
the
notes.
phone.
I just always feel bad when I tell people I've never wanted to escape anything.
Why?
It's so unrelatable.
No, honestly,
Because like,
Kate, like
everybody's like,
honestly,
oh, you've had such a great
that
life,
wasn't the
lucky
answer,
you.
That wasn't the answer I expected from you. And honestly, I think that's the more interesting answer for me.
Mhm.
Like,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, like, because you were saying play dress up and stuff. That's why I expected you to kind of be like, I want to like
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
escape reality, kind of create your own fantasy world in a sense, you know. So it was kind of not what I expected, but in a more interesting way.
I guess as a kid, the reality and the make believe just sort of coexisted, like really, really beautifully, and it was just a fun thing.
Yeah, if you always hold on to that like childlike mentality too, it's I think you have to a little bit to make stuff.
Yeah.
One of the questions I wrote down was, how do you manage to make films while also like working a normal job and like having commitments and friends and family, and like it's a lot. How do you handle that?
Well, a lot of the time it sucks. I've been dealing with this a lot lately, just trying to balance personal life with movies and stuff. And I mean, especially editing, like when I'm editing a movie, that's when I feel like so introverted and so, honestly, like my mental health when I'm editing is never very good. And I'm always fucking editing. Sorry. But I am always editing. I've been editing the same movie for like 2 years straight, and then I've made like 4 on top of it. So like right now is actually the only time in the last 2 years that I have not been editing anything, and it's and I'm going crazy. But it's
must edit.
But also I need a break. So to answer your question, the balance is very hard. It also depends on the process, because like writing is always the most like positive for me. Like when I'm writing stuff, I go out into the world and I feel good, you know. But if I'm editing, I'm usually just so introverted and don't want to talk to anybody. So it's a hard balance. And then like in terms of like work and stuff, I've always had trouble with that. But that is just an ongoing struggle, you know. That is just an ongoing struggle. And honestly, I feel like you guys could probably teach me some things about that, because here you are recording a podcast on a work night, and I'm like, dang. So yeah, I've always struggled with that, the balance, and I'm yet to really find any answers. But how do you guys deal with it?
I think for me, the balance comes down to communication, because it does take a lot of time, but like, what else am I going to do on a Wednesday night? Sit around and scroll on Instagram? I could read a book. That would be great. I could hang out with Mario. That would also be great. And it always is great. But like, I'm going to be doing something or nothing on a day anyways. And the hardest thing, I guess, for being filmmakers who don't yet pay people to film our movies with us, it's almost like other people's jobs are the hard part, because I can look at my calendar, and I keep my calendar pretty up to date with like, I know my work schedule, so it's very consistent, so I don't need to put that on my calendar, but like, I'm going to be out of town this weekend, or I'm doing this thing on this night, so I can work around my own schedule pretty well. And also, I work at a school, so in about a month, a little less than a month, I will have 35, 40 hours more in my week. Yeah. 40 if you're counting drive time. So there's that too, and there's breaks and stuff, but we usually do try to film on weekends, because that is most accommodating to most people. Now, not everybody has a 9 to 5. I'm very blessed that I have a very consistent schedule. I'm very thankful for that. And I know you do too, Brooke, but not everybody does.
Yeah, I honestly think part of that balance is finding a job that you can find consistency in somewhere, even if your schedule is different every week. Like, you know, like Tuesday mornings at this time, I'm going to do this or whatever. Finding a routine and finding like yourself in that routine is huge. I've literally been learning that like this month, of how to establish that and not burn out. I'm like this close, and I'm like, stay away. But I think another thing that is related, but not like directly in that question, is like, Kate and I have each other, and most filmmakers are not in direct partnerships with each other. Like, we all work together, but like Kate and I are different, because I can be like, Kate, we have to do this thing. What's your schedule like? Okay, this works. And we just like keep each other accountable. We're constantly in communication every day. I don't think a single day has gone by in 2 years where we haven't talked to each other.
Only when we're like out of service, when
right.
one of us is out of town.
Right, but it's like we have each other to keep each other busy and accountable, and we like each other, which helps.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't be in business with you if I didn't like you.
Right. Because I cannot imagine doing this alone. I would not do this alone. I had every opportunity to for 23 years, and I didn't. It wasn't until Kate came along to like give me that push and encouragement. I can't imagine doing this alone.
No,
I have the utmost respect for you and Kyle and everyone else who does this by themselves for the most part.
I mean, I was fortunate enough to, like, I had that early on too. Like, I definitely know what that's like when you starting alone is really tough. Starting alone, I think having somebody to start with, and then you can spread your wings, in the future is good too. But yeah, I mean, like, just having filmmaker friends is really helpful for that too. Keeping you accountable, but also, it's just nice to have other people around to relate,
Yeah. It's way more fun.
to show your stuff to that can understand. Some people can't.
I also want to say that I am like infinitely grateful for Mario, because not only was Grannon his idea, and I would have never started a business if he had thought it was a bad idea, but like having Mario there to bounce ideas off of, and like he was literally the person who, this is a slight spoiler alert, it's not a spoiler alert, something in the Isabel project that you'll see is like one of those plush mood octopus things.
Oh yeah.
The only reason that is in there is because of him.
It's only kind of pivotal.
So the reason for that we're not gonna say, but like the reason Mario suggested that little plushie for mystery purpose and things like that, and just like little things of like, showing him an edit or just bouncing ideas off, like, what do I do about this? And I think probably the hardest thing for me is just keeping him up to date sometimes with like trying not to be super short notice. Like tonight I was like, I got home from work at 4 and I was like, oh, okay, I don't have to do anything until 7:30. He's like, oh, what are you doing at 7:30? I was like, oh snap, oh, I'm recording a podcast episode tonight. I am getting better about that, just like more in advance, like, oh, we're doing this and we're filming something, would you like to help out on the set? Instead of before it was like, oh, can you do this and this and this, and he's like, maybe, can you ask me next time instead of telling me? So
it was definitely a learning curve, because like I not only got into a partnership with Kate business wise, but like also kind of your husband too, because we have to work with his schedule, which I'm so grateful for him. Yeah, he's been so kind to us.
Yes.
And very I don't know what's the word, like we film in your house a lot. I'm over at your house all the time. Yep. Like constantly invading his space, and he's just so cool with it, and I'm so grateful. I hope he watches that. You should show him just that part.
I will.
Is it worth it to make films? Like all this stress and all this struggle and all the good stuff too, but like it's a lot of stress and it's tough to prioritize films. Is it worth it? If so, why?
I struggle with that question every day. I mean, me and Kyle talk about this all the time. We've definitely dipped into, do I want to do this anymore territory before, and I always snap back. And sometimes, I go very far in that direction and I'm not sure I'm going to swing back, and I always do. And I've had many of those, some that were pretty bad, and I had one recently too, and that I'm just kind of snapping out of now. Yeah, I guess, is it worth it? Maybe. It's more about, I guess, like, what is there for me, sometimes. And that's not a healthy answer, but sometimes I feel like it's my whole identity, and there's just really, I mean, I feel boring sometimes, but honestly, there's just not a lot of other things that like I enjoy, or that I want to do. It's just the thing that's always pulled me in, that with that, it's got that energy that sucks me in that I haven't really felt otherwise. I've been doing it for so long too, and now it's this mix of, okay, it's the thing that I'm best at and it's the thing that I love the most, so I'd be stupid not to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wish that I didn't want to do it anymore. Sometimes I wish that there's be something else that would sweep me off my feet, not to be like pessimistic, but I do. It's true, like, but it just hasn't happened because this is it for me. I just love it so much, and it's the thing that drives me crazy the most, but it's the thing I love the most. So it's, and I don't like those bitter, like, depressed filmmaker types, so I don't want to be that guy, but
I don't think you are capable of being that guy.
Okay, thank you. But it is really hard sometimes. I do struggle with it, but I mean, truthfully, I just, the reason I do it is because I just don't think there's just no other ways that I'm able to like express myself. Mm-hmm. That's just the only way I feel like I can show people who I am. I can't really do it in words, and I can't do it in any other way. Sometimes it's literal, in the filmmaking, and sometimes it's more can be like surreal and non-literal, I guess we'll just say. Yeah. It's like shedding weight, and also, like I kind of said earlier, putting those pieces of your heart back into place. You know, it feels like you're in a sauna sweating all those toxins out kind of thing. That's what it feels like, you know, when I do it, and haven't found anything else like that.
Yeah.
And sorry, that was a loaded answer.
No. Filmmakers tend to be very complex people.
Yep.
As we all know. And I feel like we need an equally complex medium to express ourselves. There is nothing so complex as filmmaking. Not that I've found.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I also, we were talking about earlier about reality and everything, and like escaping and stuff. And for me, it's kind of like, it's this mix of escaping reality, but also sculpting your new reality as well. Like not like literally your reality, but I think of like the movie I Made a Theater Near You, where it's like about the time that I worked at the Majestic, and you know, that's a very glorified version of everything that, you know, happened while I worked there, and it's just like this little small, you know, documentary about my time there. You know, I was there for 6 years, and it's a 30-minute thing, so it's obviously not like a perfect representation of everything, but how I feel about that place is perfectly represented within that 30 minutes. And that is what I'm always trying to do. It's just capturing a feeling, capturing an emotion, and expressing it through visuals and through audio, and mixing it up and hoping it's good.
Yeah.
And that's something that you do that I've never seen anybody else do in movies, like, ever. Like, I'm not talking about just, like,
Well, thank you.
indie. I'm not just saying this to flatter you. Like, there's no movie like a Gage movie. They just don't exist anywhere else. This introspective, like... And normally, stuff like that, I think, wouldn't appeal to me, honestly, because I love, like, stories and plots and all these things, but you are telling a story just in a completely, like, different way than I'm used to, and I love it. It's just kind of mesmerizing.
It's not an adventure story. It's like this introspective journey through the mind or heart or whatever it's about.
And there's, like, nobody else who does it like you. So.
Oh, jeez, guys.
Good job.
I
believe, if I remember right, somebody commented on your documentary, like, wow, you made me feel nostalgia for a place I've never been to. And, like, like...
I mean, that was the goal for that movie. And I don't often have goals when I'm making stuff. The goal for that movie was to capture the feeling of nostalgia and that feeling of, you know... And I made it, and I felt... I don't think I've ever felt the way I felt after releasing that compared to anything. Like, I just felt so, like, clean, light. Light is probably the right word. And I still love it, and I still miss that place. Even though I made it, even though I captured it, I thought I was going to be able to, like, kind of let it go a little bit, but I'm still, like, I think about that place every day.
Oh.
Yeah. That's just how I am. I'm a very nostalgic person.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Anyway. What were we talking about? I don't know how we got here.
Is it worth it to be a filmmaker, I think?
I mean, when I think about that experience, I'm like, 100% it is, you know? Like, there's like, kind of like you were saying, like, I don't want to admit that, like, filmmakers are complex people, because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm a complex person. But, like, I do hear what you're saying. Like, I feel so many different ways all at once about that question. It's crazy. I just don't know. It's also project to project, you know?
Yeah.
I have lots of different emotions about each and every different project that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every single movie I've ever made is like, that is a point in my life right there.
Yep.
That is like, I remember who I was, how I felt, you know, everything. And that's part... You know, that's kind of like the selfish part, is like, you know, all this is for me. It's like, even if they're fictional and they're not, you know, a representation of my reality, it's like, it's kind of like a map of my life a little bit. Did you guys answer the question? Did you?
We didn't yet, no. And I was thinking of, it was the day of our business anniversary, Brooke, and you may not remember this, but like, I was lying on the couch, and I was, like, tired and grumpy, and I don't even know why. Like, we didn't even do that much that day, and you were like, okay, we need to do this and this and this, and we're filming next week, and we've got to do all this stuff, and I was like, Brooke, why did we decide to be filmmakers? Like, I said that on the day of our freaking business anniversary, and you were like, Kate, you know we would never be satisfied with anything else. And I was like, yeah, I would find something. I'd be fine. And you were like, well, I couldn't. And I was like, oh, I'm being a jerk. And it's pretty dramatic.
I do remember that.
I need to calm down.
You were being pretty dramatic.
I was. I didn't feel bad. It was like the worst day to be that way too.
It was a wonderful day.
It was.
That was
really
my favorite of our 2 anniversaries so far.
Yes.
We spent it like location scouting and getting ready for this amazing shoot the next week. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Do you guys snap out of it quick though when you're like that?
Yeah. I'm never more than like really upset or angsty for like 3 hours in a row.
I don't think I've ever gotten that over a film. I've gotten that over theater productions like every time, but I don't think I've ever had that for a film.
Well, no, I've gotten that way about every point of the process, but writing the least, the most when we're actually filming. Filming has always been my least favorite part of making movies. I just wish I had things to edit all the time and things to write all the time, and then just skip the filming part. But I like acting, but actually like filming, I'm like, oh, this is exhausting.
That's crazy because you're so good at it.
Oh,
I know.
Like you are my go-to
oh,
cinematographer.
jeez. I'm just like, I guess we'll put it here. Nice.
Yeah, you just have like an eye for it.
Well, that's what I say about Kyle. I've always said Kyle has like he just like speaks the language of cinema.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's just like the more you do it, the more it's just like, I mean, it's just like any language, you know what I'm saying? If you move to Japan and you're around people who speak Japanese, eventually you're gonna learn Japanese, and that's kind of filmmaking is like Japanese. So dumb.
Filmmaking is like language learning. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. Like I say, you have a knack for cinematography, but like physically holding the camera, that is like a natural gift of yours. Just like being able to move it in these amazing ways. Kyle has this amazing vision for like the whole scene. Everything is just perfection.
He's really good at the flow and like the energy of things and just where to put the camera and like blocking and framing, which that stuff stresses me out. I'm just like,
me too.
Put the camera in my hands and I'll just run around and I got it. Because I've been doing that since I was 10, so I can do that. That's why I made handheld movies for so long, because that's where I'm comfortable. You know, the second you got it on a tripod, I'm a little, but I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I finished what I was gonna say,
No,
but
go.
Sorry.
No. It just. This is the thing about conversations. This is why when I was like a teenager, I never like said anything, because I would have a thought to add to a conversation, but by the time there was a pause, like the conversation had totally moved to something else.
Yeah.
So I've learned to delicately interrupt, but this is different. This is a podcast. we can full stop and go back, or we can full stop and go back because topics. Anyway. I was gonna say something.
What was your thought, Kate?
I got all caught up in talking about how I used to be bad at talking.
Do you want me to just hum so there's not awkward silence?
No.
Okay.
That's what editing is for.
Oh, right.
It would probably just make me laugh, and then that would just make me more. Okay, I was gonna say something that was related to the.
What were we talking about?
I'm gonna put chapstick on. What do you think? Hey, see? Good thing we brought it.
I'm like addicted to chapstick.
I know.
Sucks to be you.
It sucks to have dry lips.
My lips are not addicted to needing external moisture. They use their own moisture.
Well,
I'm definitely addicted to chapstick. I'll just put it on record.
I used to be addicted to chapstick.
How do you not? Because I can't go without a few hours. My lips just get so dry. You've done it. How did you do it?
How did you escape?
I think I like ran out of chapstick and couldn't buy anymore, and then I just like, I don't need this anymore.
What?
It's like addiction, right? Addiction in general.
I've been corrupted by big chapstick over here. That's what happened. No, just kidding.
It's all a scam.
Chapstick is a cult.
Chapstick makes your lips drier, but we don't care.
Well, yeah. I think it depends on the chapstick.
Oh yeah.
Does this turn into like a presidential debate?
This is the chapstick
I
debate.
feel like Burt's Bees is one of the better ones.
Yeah, I think for me, like Blistex is the one. Is that the blue one?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the medicated stuff.
Oh,
I was gonna say that one sucks.
No. Okay, no, I'm thinking of a different one then.
Sorry.
We're gonna have to leave this in. This is too funny.
Chapstick and Movies podcast. No, I love
From
chapstick.
chapstick to movies.
One of my favorite. I don't tweet anything that's like worth a damn, but my favorite tweet. I think I got 2 likes, but I think about it all the time, and I just thought it was so funny. And all the tweet was, I think you liked it or you made a comment about it. And it,
I know
and
where
it was,
this is
and
going.
it literally, this is so funny. Kyle made so much fun of me, but it was just like, I hope they have chapstick in the gulag.
No, it was phrased as a question. Do you think
do
they'll
you-
have? And I was just like, no.
No. I hate that's what I think about. Like, if the world ends or if I get put in prison, like, what am I gonna do about my lips?
Apparently,
I don't need to
they
eat.
go through like withdrawals and then they're fine.
Exactly.
It's just gonna be rough.
Yeah.
I hope I starve to death before they get too chapped. Anyway.
To be fair, I do
honestly.
wear lipstick and lip gloss sometimes, which I do like
Oh.
moisturizing kinds of those, but I don't like put it on the same way like I think you guys do with chapstick. I'll be like, oh, I can't see it anymore. I'll put it on again. Not like, oh, I need to feel it. I'm gonna put it on again.
No, it's just I don't need to feel it. It's just when my lips get dry, and sometimes that's often depending on the weather.
If I don't go by whether they're feeling dry or not. Is what I
Oh,
meant.
I see.
Yeah.
I really like that the level of passion increased when we started talking about chapstick.
I am 100 times more passionate about
Yeah.
chapstick than films, guys.
I think I'm gonna stop
on the
making
record.
movies and start reviewing chapsticks on TikTok.
Do it.
Won't get as many views as my taco reviews.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
you got a good taco channel
You're
going.
sassy.
You got a good taco
I
channel
like
going.
sassy
I do.
Kate.
The only way I can get views on TikTok if I just record a movie on my TV and go,
I know it
haha.
makes me so mad.
And then
You're
I,
doing
and then I,
like zero effort,
second
and
I
I'm
put-
doing like
but then the second
an
I put
hour
effort
of
into
work.
it, the second I put effort into a video, it's got like 6 views. Same exact thing for YouTube. If I could spend like a week making like a top 10 video, and then spend an hour reacting to some stupid trailer for a movie I didn't care about, and it would get like 1,000 views. You know, oh god, it pisses me
Yeah.
off.
I
Anyway,
swear, if our ADHD Ramble podcast episode gets the most views, I'm just gonna quit.
it will. Just trust me, it will.
Yeah.
It's always the ones you least expect. Anyway. I hate that I have a TikTok that has 1 million views, but all of my movies
Wait,
have
really?
like 1,000.
What?
Like they have nothing.
wait, really? 1 million
Yeah, and
views?
it was me recording a scene from the movie Game Night and going, this is a really funny scene. And I got 1 million views. But then
Wow.
I spend 6 months of my life making a movie and 25 people see it.
Yeah.
What is this world we're living in? Anyway.
I could go off on a long tangent on that, but I don't think anyone wants
Yeah.
that.
It's not worth it, Kate. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Did you answer the question, or were you still
I
thinking?
didn't. I'm debating whether or not it's worth it to answer the question
Oh.
about
What
if
question?
it's worth it.
Just say it. We've been waiting.
The
What-
question on if it's worth it.
Is what worth it?
Filmmaking.
Oh. Sorry. I got distracted with chapstick. I was
Also,
like, is chapstick
Is
worth it?
chapstick worth it?
Chapstick itself is not worth it, but hearing you guys talk about your love of chapstick is worth it because it
Yeah.
makes me happy.
Mhm.
So, I was gonna say that up until very recently, I always enjoyed production day, but there seems to be a bit of a pattern that I really hope breaks. And so I'm just gonna say that like this is the last time it's happened with the Isabel project, where like for multiple day shoots, like the first day is really really hard for me. For like no reason. Like I'm always the most tired on the first day. I'm the most cranky, especially if we're going like till midnight or something. I'm like really cranky and tired and exhausted by the end of the day. But like the second day you'd think I'd be more tired, but I'm not. I don't know if it's like I have to adjust to this like weekend thing or what it is. But like during those times I'm like I don't like this. I feel tired. I want but I couldn't tell you why it's not like that on the other days. So at that point, I don't like production day, but I always have liked it for like the like 12 years or whatever that I've been making movies. I don't even know anymore.
I think it's really interesting that you feel that way on production day because like I said earlier, I've never felt anything like that.
Yeah, and up until recently, I never did either.
Huh.
So I don't know what's going on. So it was weird.
How recently?
Like last summer. Okay, it was the first day we shot Brand New Surgery Suit,
Mm.
and you weren't there.
Mm.
And it was like
So it's my
really
fault.
long. No, it wasn't. It was partially because that was like one time we went super late into the night. It was like a 14-hour day. We went out in the sun. We did all of these things, and I had really bad cramps the whole time.
Mm.
So that had to do with that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I felt a lot of stress around the pre-production of Isabel Project, and I honestly think it's because it was kind of our first scripted production in that way. since technically Palm Springs of Washington, which was almost 2 years ago.
Oh, man.
We've done 3 improv movies and a couple music videos, and none of that is the same as what we were doing for the Isabel project. So I just felt like so stressed out working the schedule and all that stuff. But then once it came to production, and this might be because I was directing it, but I was just like so hyped the whole weekend. I was like, 17-hour day? Yeah. Following a 12-hour day? Absolutely. Oh, and more filming the next day? Yes, let's do this.
One of my favorite pictures that it's on the Grandin phone, so I don't have it with me right now, but it was when we were filming the hallway scene when the henchmen find Max, and that's all I'm going to say. But I got a picture from like back, and I like zoomed all the way out so I could see like all of the like 20 people in the room. There were like 3 actors and like 17 people like holding lights and holding this and holding that, or just taking behind the scenes, and I was like, wow, we have a set, guys.
That was the most legit feeling set
I know
I've ever been on,
real.
with one exception.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't our project.
No.
So
I definitely relate to the improv thing, though. It's scary when you get comfortable doing the improv stuff, and and then you get a script in your hand, and it's a whole new.
yeah.
It was so nice, though. Like, the improv stuff was great.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it again for a long time because it's almost like there's too much freedom, and I just get lost in like I don't know what to do. And so then with the Isabel's project and the script, I was like, I have a path that I can just like do.
Yeah.
And it was honestly super great. Not easy in the sense that it was easy to do, but easy in like my mind of like I know what to do next.
I always feel that the freedom aspect, because I haven't, since Waffles in 2019, the only thing that I have made with the script was Driftwood or the Seashell.
Wow.
Everything else, including the 2 projects that I'm releasing this year, none of them had scripts. And there were, you know, like Manic that's coming out this year has some dialogue that I wrote. Singularity had some
That was like a monologue, yeah.
There were 3 written monologues, and then everything else was like improvised, because the phone conversations are all improv.
Wow.
So just dialogue. But anyway,
That's amazing.
when you do that and you get in the edit, it's like, wow, I have every avenue imaginable in front of me, and it's really, really tough to pick because you want to play around and you want to try all these things, and I love that, but it takes so long, and it's really hard to just let things go and just decide I'm going this direction. Manic, I had to just stop editing that movie because I was editing. Like, I've been editing Fool for, 2 years, but when I say 2 years, really it's like, a couple times, here and there.
Yeah.
Manic, I was literally editing every day for like 3 months. And I was like, at a certain point, I was like, okay, we're letting this go. I have to be done with this. And there's some things in the edit that are actually like mistakes. And I've been thinking about tooling with it, but I'm like, okay, if I'm going to tool with it, I want to change this thing, and I want to change. So it's like, I don't know if I want to open that can of worms. And that's the tough part about the improv thing. So that's why I'm excited to do some scripted stuff too. Yeah, the last scripted thing I did was Driftwood or the Seashell. And the next scripted thing I'm going to do is Driftwood or the Seashell in feature form.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what I literally said to Kate was, how do you make films while working other jobs to support yourself, and is it worth it? Why is filmmaking so important? And we can ask out about shifting from cinematography to acting, and how and why. That last one we didn't really talk about much. I met you on the set of Not So Amazing, and you were, you did a lot of stuff, but I met you like as the camera guy.
Oh, okay.
And in my mind, it was like, this is the camera guy. And then now you're like transitioning to do more acting stuff.
But you've also done like a ton of acting.
Yeah.
And other
Right,
things.
yeah.
And, like acting and directing and all kinds of stuff.
So I guess the question comes down to more like, what has been your thought process or whatever of kind of your roles on the film set? And then like, I don't know, what's your favorite or least favorite?
Acting is definitely my favorite. I mean, if we're talking everything, I think acting, it's tough. I don't get as many chances to act as I do like editing, and I spend so much time editing and writing than I do anything else. So I've just learned to kind of like love those parts of the process, and I know exactly what I love and what I hate about editing and writing. Because I do it so much. I haven't been able to act as much lately, only in my own stuff. And it kind of doesn't feel like I'm acting when I'm doing that. It feels kind of like cheating.
You don't have a director yelling at you what to do.
Yeah, and it's like writing your own dialogue. It just kind of seems, it just doesn't seem, it's not the same, you know? I haven't, it's totally not the same. I miss acting in other people's stuff. Like, I want to do it more. I'm just kind of waiting for the right stuff, just because, I don't know. I don't know if I have the best acting range, so I'm just kind of waiting for something to connect with me.
Something you feel comfortable with.
Comfortable, but also a little uncomfortable, you know? It has,
That's
it's
important.
that good balance.
Yeah.
You know, I miss the days of acting in Not So Amazing and, you know, doing the camera and stuff, and I don't even know. I guess, was I a producer on that? Is that why I was holding the camera?
I think you were like everything.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, I don't like having to deal with camera stuff and also acting, which is what I've been doing for like the last 5 years. I hate it. It's so stressful. I need to stop doing it. I keep saying I'm going to stop doing it. I got to stop casting myself in my own stuff, because it's just awful. I just don't like mixing it. It's too hard to focus on. You just can't put your 100% in either one, and it's really frustrating. And my 100% camera-wise, in my own opinion, is not the best. I also would love to have a project where it's like I can focus 100% on acting, and I don't think I've had that, you know, because
we have some scripts to send you.
Yeah, I mean,
we may have sent them already.
in the early days, you know, of like living with Trevor and Not So and stuff, you know, there was more, you know, we were all helping do everything, so you still couldn't really, you know, get to focus on your one job, you know, your one thing, and I've been craving that. Did that answer the question? What were we talking about? Cinematography and acting?
Honestly, that question was very specifically directed at you, because Kate and I do everything.
I haven't
we
acted
don't.
for a while, and
I
I'm
haven't
okay
either.
with that.
Have I?
Just in our little horror short,
yeah. I want to act more too.
Yeah.
I miss acting a
Yeah,
lot.
You're awesome. You're an awesome.
I had
you
to
both
step
are
away
awesome
from the
actors.
improv because my life's just too much right now, but I miss it so much.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I'm just literally me saying I need to stop acting in my own stuff. Yesterday, I was thinking about a movie that I'm going to write, and I was like, I think I could play that character. And I'm just like, what
It's
am I
hard
doing?
because, like, you know the roles you want,
Yeah.
and then you look and you're like, I don't see them, but I
Well,
could create it.
Also, like, it's always things that are so specific that I feel like, you know, I know how I want it, and trying to explain that to other people and
Yeah.
get that out of them is just so exhausting, but I just need to do it, you know? It's part of the process.
Yeah, that's something I had to learn the hard way, is like, I don't want to ever direct or act in something I write, because when I write it, I have a specific vision, but that's not the purpose of that is the purpose of a writer, but it's not the purpose of a writer to translate that vision into the final product all the time. That's usually why you have a different director and actors, and it's the culmination of all those ideas that make the final product, and that's what I love the most. So if I'm doing all of that, it's just my ideas, and then by the end it feels completely stale and awful, and I hate it every time. I've done it too many times.
So that worked out pretty well with Isabel then, because we both came up with the story concept, and we both wrote the outline, but then I did the first draft of scripting.
Yeah.
And then by the time that was done, it was very different.
Yeah.
But
And it was only
Did that kind
because
of
you
help
wrote
with
it.
that?
Yeah, it was only because you wrote it that I even was considering directing it.
okay.
If I had written it, there would have been no chance. Like, I'm definitely not doing almost anything with Disconnected. Like, I'll produce it. I don't think I'll do anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not directing that one either.
Mm-mm.
That's tough. I don't
I
know if
need
I can
to
relate to that.
do.
It's hard for me to let go of stuff.
It is hard. Back in the day, I did a series of one acts at YVC, and I wrote them, and then I also directed them twice, and they were both honestly bad. And I could see that by the end of the second one. I was like, I made this bad. And it wasn't objectively bad, but for me, it was bad because I couldn't communicate. I didn't have the skill set back then to communicate my ideas, and my ideas were so specific and rigid. And that's the part that is like, the important part is like, I was not willing to be flexible with the actors' ideas and work with people. I was like, no, this is how I wrote it. This is how I want it. Why can't you do this? And it was really kind of a negative experience for me. And
Oh no, I get you. You know what's gonna help? What helped with that though is definitely the improv stuff, because that's exactly for me. Right when I started doing all those improv stuff, I started to loosen up about that, because I was the exact same way. Like yeah, Waffles for instance was like, it was, if it was on the page, we were doing it, and you know there were moments of, you know, let's loosen up and do some fun stuff, but it was very like rigid. And now it's kind of very, very open and flexible and loose, and it's a better way to go about it. But
It
but
really
it's
is.
still tough for me to. I don't know if I could write something and let it go. I mean,
It's hard.
I'd have to go into it with that intention.
Yep.
I don't think I could flip that switch later on.
Yeah. I have a couple books that I'm working on. Hopefully one will get published this year. And if those ever got turned into movies,
Yeah.
I would have to make them because I
Yeah.
could not let those go. But then, like with Disconnected, I wrote that knowing that this would be turned into something and that I would be letting it go. It's
Right.
not something I've been doing forever. And like, it's kind of like there was a turning point somewhere in my life, and everything I did before that, like all my books and stuff, I can't let go of. But everything I've done since then, it's like very easy to just let go.
Mm.
I don't know how else to describe that. And I don't know when that was either. Sometime around the birth of Entertainers.
Nice. Gage doesn't know anything about that.
Nope. Nor do any of you, and neither will you for a long time.
Oh, wow.
I might tell you about it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm all ears.
Oh, we talked about like ripping off Doom Productions format again.
Oh yeah.
Is that how you really want to end this?
What are we working on? What are we watching?
And I almost feel like I have to apologize, and then I tell them in person, they're like, "No, we don't care. Like, it's cool that you think what we do is cool. Do that." And I'm like, "Okay," but I still feel like I'm being unoriginal.
Okay, well, let's take
I'll
that
steal
idea.
it. I'll take the. I'll take the heat on this one.
No.
What are you guys working on right now?
I feel like I've already said everything I'm working on, including the stuff that nobody should know about.
Yeah, I'll just give the bare bones rundown. What I'm editing right now is a client music video project that's coming out in June, and if that ends up being posted publicly, we'll talk about that on the social medias and all that. Show it to some folks. There's going to be a live premiere of it, but
Local stuff
yeah,
only.
local folks only. That's going to be on June 24th, so I have a month or so to finish that. When I'm done editing that, I'm going to start editing Isabel, which doesn't have like a super... We were thinking maybe end of July, but I don't
Yeah.
know. That just feels more intimidating to start editing.
Mhm. It's
because
big.
It's big. And we're also not done filming yet,
Yeah.
so I'm kind of like, oh, I don't need to do that yet, but I still need to read through Disconnected.
Oh yeah, I need to work on
And
Disconnected.
there is a script that I am working on for the yet unannounced period drama piece that some people know about. I still need to work on that. I haven't done that for a long time. And that's about it.
29 Trouble. Are we talking about that?
Yeah, we talk about that all the time.
It's still in the works.
Yeah. but-
Episodes 1 through 9 are pretty much solidified. We're just waiting for that season finale,
Yep,
and we're
it's out
also
of my hands right now.
planning seasons 2 through 5. So,
Yep.
yeah,
That's exciting.
very exciting. I have not looked at the scripts since January. So
I
I'm
still haven't
actually
read any
like
of
that was
10.
purposeful because as soon as 10 is done, Kate and I are going to go through and read them all in order. Well, we're going to work on 10 a little bit, but then we're like going to read them all and hopefully it's going to flow beautifully and then we can like I don't know, start the early stages of pre-production.
And that's been interesting too, because it's like, yes, we've been like bringing on a bunch of people to read them with us and all this stuff, but at some point we just have to decide that they're done.
Yeah.
Because like what you were talking about with Manic, like, oh, I could keep editing and tweaking and perfecting this for like literally the rest of my life, and I probably, but at some point it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, just
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're happy with it now.
Yeah. And I think it comes down to like what we want out of it. Like
Yeah.
we could make it a cheesy sci-fi western, or we could make it this epic Lord of the Rings drama, but we're going somewhere in the middle, somewhere on that spectrum, you know, and we just have to decide that point and aim there every season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've also said what you're working on, more or less, but recap?
Yeah, I'm kind of in hiatus on 3 things right now. I have 1 movie done. Manic is completely done. That is the movie that's going to be, well, it's part of an anthology feature. It's 18 minutes long. That's going to release at some undisclosed time. So I'm kind of just sitting on that, having some fun with the marketing. Very excited about that one, though. It's by far my favorite thing that I've made. I mean, not my favorite, but probably the best thing. But like we were saying, like It's so hard for me to just sit on movies when they're done. Like normally I'm just like put it out immediately, and I'm so worried that by the time it's out that I'm just gonna hate it. but then there's that. So there's Manic coming out. So excited. Fool's always in the same spot. My computer broke last week. I told you guys.
Yeah.
It was weird timing too, because right before my computer just decided to kill itself, I was having like a big existential crisis about the movie, because it's so meta, because exactly what the movie is about has like been happening to me. I've just been working on it for so long that it's just the movie itself has almost become obsolete in my life, because it's happened before, where I work on something for so long that I kind of lose the love for it a little bit. And it's because it's not a representation of who I am in that moment anymore. It was when I started 2 years ago. So long story short, I was having this like crisis about it, and I started reworking it. And right when I started reworking it is when my computer died on me. I'm excited to get back into it, because I know now it's going to be like what it has wanted to be for a while, but I wasn't allowing it to be, Yeah. So there's Fool coming out, hopefully this year. It was supposed to come out last year. Whatever. Yeah. And the Driftwood or the Seashell feature film has been written. The working title is called Andromeda. I might regret saying that, because I might change it. I don't know.
That's why it's called the working title.
Yeah, working title. Andromeda. Hopefully filming, who knows? Got to start casting, and so that's what I'm working on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're shooting more films this
short
year.
way of saying I'm working on nothing. A long way of saying
we are at some point gonna start pre-production, like actually on the Vicious Vacuum.
Finally. Yeah.
We'll be probably casting is the first thing, so
more or less. Yeah.
Anyway, Vicious Vacuum.
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, Gage, about films and life and boba?
Boba. I approve of boba. Boba's very good.
First time, right?
First time. Very good.
Yay.
No, we didn't do what we've been watching, but it's fine. I'll let it slide.
I've been watching nothing. That's why I haven't had time.
The last thing I watched was Guardians with you.
Oh yeah,
last week.
We watched Guardians. It was good.
Yeah,
it was good for a Marvel movie.
It was fun.
I liked opinions. I could do a whole podcast episode on that.
You should.
We should.
Guardians 3 podcasts.
I'm sure that's been done by like 5 billion people already.
Yeah,
I'm personally not interested in doing that.
It would just be me ranting to you, and you'd be like,
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Marvel. Yep. I don't know. I don't have any closing thoughts. Do you guys have any closing thoughts?
I don't think so.
I don't know. We usually end our episodes awkwardly.
Oh,
we'll maybe begin them awkwardly.
Our episodes are just awkward.
I feel like most of this wasn't awkward. Anyway,
that makes
thank you
sense.
so much, Gage, for joining us
Thank
for
you,
the
Gage.
much.
inaugural episode in the new studio space. We'll see you guys next time.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and do whatever you do on this platform. Thank you so much for watching. And I kid already said it, but we'll see you next time.
Bye.